Okay, let's be honest. In Nigeria, when it comes to sex, women are just told to close our legs, don't talk about it, and most especially, don't want it. And yet, at the same time, men are celebrating doing the exact opposite. And not just that they are celebrating it, they are also celebrated for doing it. Well, you asked, and today I am ready to answer. Welcome to the Dear Naija Girl podcast, my loves. It's your girl Tasha, and today we're going to be talking about something that is usually taboo for us to talk about. Let's talk about sex, shame, and silence. I call it the triple S. I know. Don't ask me why. Okay, let's talk. Today, I want us to talk honestly, and I want us to also talk heartfelt, right? I want us to unpack everything that concerns sex, the shame, the silence, and everything that society has taught us not to feel, and how we should be ashamed of our desires as women, and why reclaiming our pleasure is also part of us reclaiming our power as women. I know this might sound a bit cliche and a bit perspire to aspire for us all, but come on, somebody has to say it, okay? So I'm going to start by talking about conditioning from childhood to, when girls hear things like good girls don't talk about sex, good girls don't feel certain type of way, you have to keep your virginity, which is good. Please do keep it. I promise it's good. Keep it. And most especially about us not wanting sex, and we have to wait for marriage, and when our husband demands it, we get it. And I'm going to speak from my own experience because, again, there is nobody I love to gossip about more than myself. So let's talk. I think the first time I ever had, I don't know if I'll call it desire or more like what men call horniness or blue balls, was at 14. And of course, everybody around me was saying the opposite. Don't feel what you're feeling. Don't say what you're feeling. Don't talk about sex. You shouldn't be liking that boy and all those stuff. And if we're being very honest, I'm sure we all know what I'm talking about. It's called puberty. When puberty comes, it is like the devil is on your shoulder trying to push you in things that you're not supposed to do. And I remember the first person that actually had that conversation, that was old enough and kind enough to have that conversation with me, was my auntie sister. Yeah, don't ask me why she's my auntie sister, but she's my auntie sister. And she was one of the first women that made me feel seen. And I'm not just speaking from my own perspective. I'm also speaking from the perspective of, we were two young girls, we were the same age, and we're all living in that house. And she was the first person that ever made us feel seen. She was the big sister that we never had. She talked to us about a lot of things that in that time we weren't supposed to know, but we needed to know. You all know that sex is a huge taboo, and every parent and guardians, as well as our mother's generation, always tiptoe around it. They don't want to talk about it, and they don't want you talking about it. Why should you talk about sex at 14? That thing doesn't exist for us. And every time I see foreign movies and I see how parents have the sex talk with their kids quite young, I'm always marveled. I'm always jealous because they don't do that for us here. But my auntie sister had the talk with us. She told us why our body was feeling the way our body was. She talked to us about period. When I had my first period at 13, she was the one that talked to me about it. She talked to us about sexual compatibility. She was also the first person I talked about when I had my first boyfriend at 16. In fact, she was the only person kind enough to let him write letters to me because I didn't have a phone at the time. Any other person would have heard that and lost their marbles. Literally lost their marbles and just lose their shit on you. But she was very patient. She was very honest. She was very open and welcoming and everything. And I think every young girl needs that. And that is why I don't play with my nieces. I do not. Like, they have a huge part of my heart. And I have always promised myself to be that for young girl what my auntie sister was for me. Because it's very important that young girls have that person that can listen to them without bias, without judgment, without shame. Somebody that can be honest to them about the things that they are feeling, and someone that can hold up a mirror that they can see themselves through in the kindest way possible. And the conditioning that we grew up with from our mother's generation, always trying to keep things all piled inside. And even though when they know you're doing that thing that they expect you not to talk about, they still don't want to talk about that thing. It's ridiculous. And that conditioning makes a lot of young women grow up and associate sex with sin and guilt and shame. And because of that, it has affected how women see pleasure and how women see sex. They see sex as things that are done to them and not things that they get to partake in. They also see sex as things that they do for men and not things that they do for themselves. And that is part of the warped, weird conditioning that we've had in this part of the world, especially when it comes to relationships and marriages. Meanwhile, our fellow brothers, men are encouraged to explore. In fact, it is seen as you being unmanly if you do not explore your sexual land. Basically, I don't know if that makes sense. They are even praised for having multiple partners because, you don't have multiple partners. You are a Jew, you are a this, you are a that, different insults. And what these double standards basically just tells women is that, sex is not something that is done with women. It's something that is done to women and not something that women can desire or enjoy, which is just ridiculous. Let me give you an example. Now, think of how girls ask questions about their bodies when they are growing up, and those girls are labeled as fast. They see you as fast. They say you're growing too fast. But boys are just said, boys will be boys or men will be men. And it's just ridiculous. And it annoys me a lot. It annoys me a lot because women need to understand that they have a lot of pleasure buttons. But if you ask one woman now, what is your pleasure button? Not a lot of women know that. Women don't know their bodies for themselves. Women are shy to look at their bodies. They are shy to explore their bodies. Women barely enough their bodies. They barely enough their bodies. Women are ashamed of their sexual needs. Women are ashamed of their desires because they don't feel that they should have those things. And honestly, it annoys me a lot. Now, I'm going to come down to the part of silence. Now, I always tell people that the reason why I implore women to talk, to share their experiences, to speak their truth is because there is always a cost to silence. And people don't understand this. Every time you keep quiet about something you've experienced, every time you keep quiet about something you've seen, every time you keep quiet about something you've done, there is a cost attached to it. Now, this silence always costs us. Many women enter into marriages without even knowing their own body. When I was writing my book, Dear Naija Girl, I always say that I interviewed over 1,000 women. In all these women, over 800 of these women have never experienced an orgasm. In all this, there was also a large number of women that did not know where their clitoris was. In all this, there are older women beyond 60 years old that have never experienced sexual pleasure. So many women go into marriages not even knowing their own bodies. They don't even know where their pleasure lies. They don't even know how to say, oh, this is what I like in the bedroom and this is what I don't like. There was a woman that told me that she experiences pain from sex from the first time she ever had it till even after she had 3 kids, and it was cervical contact. So honestly, knowing your body also helps you a lot. But because we are conditioned not to speak out about these things, we don't even discuss our sexual activities with our friends. That's how conditioned women are when it comes to sex. And because we are conditioned not to speak up, many women endure bad sex, no sex, and majority of the times even marital rape. I told a man and I said, the reason why you think you're the baddest guy in the bedroom is because no woman has decided to tell you the honest truth. if women can be honest about their sexual experiences, a lot of men would have known that they needed to step up their game. So people will tell you how they will bend you over backward, twist you, turn you upside down like a pretzel, give you all the pleasure in the world, make you come like 20 billion times, and they don't even know anything. All they will give to you is just pain. And that's because women have been faking orgasms since time immemorial. And we are not even ready to be honest about the fact that we always try not to hurt feelings by faking it. So that silence also means that we don't pass the knowledges and the things that we know, especially from our experiences, to our sisters, to our younger ones, to our nieces, to the people coming up after us. Because we're busy suffering in silence, thinking that we are the only ones struggling. And the saddest part is that when it comes to women being silent, it passes generation to generation. Like, it just keeps coming down like that. Every time you deem yourself, every time you say you don't want to talk, you just keep quiet. You are telling the one after you that, okay, you have to also keep quiet. You're telling the next person, keep quiet. That is how it keeps going on and on and on. And it just keeps keeping quiet. An example is when women pretend to be satisfied, like I said, faking orgasm, because you've been told that, you will hurt the man's feeling, or he will not like you anymore, or he would hate you, or he would cheat on you because you don't like his sex or whatever. And everybody just is pretending to be satisfied. It's crazy. So now I'm going to come back to the part where I'm going to tell you the truth, because the truth is that your body belongs to you first. You need to get to know your body. If you don't get to know your body, then how do you expect to tell a man, how clueless they can be, how to satisfy you? Nobody knows it all. You have to tell people what you want so that they can give you what you want. If you don't know your body, you are not going to be accurate enough to tell somebody what you actually like, because you don't even know what your body likes. You don't know what you like. You don't know where your pleasure zones are. And honestly, I want women to understand that we have every right to desire. You have every right to feel pleasure and to say yes and to say no. So I'm just going to say that reclaiming your pleasure is going to start with you unlearning shame. And I think that shame is the genesis of every single sexual non-satisfaction there is. Both the silence, both the pretending that sex doesn't exist until you're ready to have sex, and all that stuff, it stems from shame. And shame also stems from guilt as well. So you have every right to desire to feel what you feel, and you need to let go of the shame. Now, you might ask, how do I start letting go of the shame of feeling pleasure, or the shame of touching my body, or the shame of getting to know my body? It's going to start from you acknowledging the fact that you need to know your body. And two, you need to also learn how to say what you want. You need to learn how to say what you want. It doesn't matter if people call you cracks. It doesn't matter if people call you a talkative. It doesn't matter if people say you don't know how to talk. As long as you're saying what you want, it doesn't matter. And you need to reject the narrative. And you need to also understand that sex is not dirty. Unless you're having sex with a dirty person, then sex is dirty. But sex is not dirty. It is not something you should be ashamed of, for goodness sake. Even it was God that created sex. Everybody was born out of sex. With how populated we are in this country, I really don't understand why we feel so much need to hide sex. You are all having sex. Men have been dipping their dippings into anything that walks this earth from time immemorial. Sex was around before us. That's how long sex has been around. It is not dirty. What is dirty is the need to attach silence to sex. First time I learned not to be ashamed of sex was when I was having a conversation with my auntie's sister. I think I was like 16 or 17. And this is years of grooming about sex. I don't think I started being unashamed of sex until my late 20s. That's how far it went. And I got the permission to be unashamed about sex by watching my friends be unashamed about sex. I learned a lot more from my friends' sexual lifestyles than anybody had taught me. Or so honestly, let's stop it, okay? So what can we do about all this nonsense? First of all, you have to talk about it. Talk about sex with your friends, the sister, any safe community that you're a part of. Talk about it. It is not a taboo. Break the silence. 2, educate yourself. Read books. Another problem I have with women is that we don't like to use our money to go and buy knowledge. We like to wait for free knowledge or wait to see knowledge from somewhere before we consume it. Buy books. Read books about sex. I mean, if this high school talk is an amazing collection of 10 short romance story, and I made sure that I put the sex front and center because I wanted people to start getting used and start getting comfortable consuming sexual content. I wanted people to start seeing that yes, romance exists, but there is no romance without sexual intimacy. Sexual intimacy is a huge part of romance. You can't love somebody without loving their bodies. And I wanted people to see that. Listen to podcasts like this one. Yeah, like this one. And I know that there are other podcasts that are centered around sex. Listen to those podcasts. Learn about your body. It is very important. Challenge the double standards. Call out the hypocrisy when men's desires are normalized and women's desires are demonized. It doesn't make any sense. Call it out when you see it. And also, for the last one, normalize women's pleasure. It is not a sin to want. It is human. It is human. It is not a sin to want. It is human. You're not dirty for wanting sex. You're not spoiled for having desires. You're not less because you enjoy sex. I think I was one of those people that grew up judging people. Every time they whisper and say, hey, that girl, oh my gosh, she just goes around speaking to me and she likes it, blah, blah, blah. We've all been there. The goal is to unlearn certain things, as toxic as they are. The worst disservice that society has done to us as women is to make us feel ashamed of our own bodies. That is why a lot of women are not comfortable looking at themselves. And if you want to test how comfortable you are with your body, you stand in front of a mirror for 5 to 10 minutes, looking at your body, admiring your body, applauding your body, affirming your body. So today, I want you to carry this with you anywhere you go. Your body is not something to be ashamed of. It is a garden of pleasure. Literally, every single part of a human's body is an erogenous zone. You just have to find yours. And you have every right to live. You have every right to split pleasure. You have every right to explore. Okay? So, I want you guys to share this podcast, subscribe. Don't forget to download this. Share this with every woman that you know. I want women to hear this. And I want us to start breaking that silence one conversation at a time, okay? So until the next episode, I want you guys to remember that desire is not something that you should be ashamed of. It's actually very powerful if you tap into it, okay? I'm so your girl, Tasha, and thank you for joining me on this episode of the Naija Girl Podcast. I'll see you next week. Bye.